Hello everyone and welcome to the EasyBackup tutorial. To install this plugin, simply drop it into your plugins folder, then go ahead and start up your server to let it generate its configuration files. Once your server starts up, you'll see that EasyBackup says it's enabling and it shows its current schedule, which by default is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock a.m. and 4 o'clock a.m. So we have one command for EasyBackup, and that's just backup, and we can create a backup by typing backup create. As you can see here, it's creating a backup. Open up my plugins folder under Easy Backup, then Backups. Here's the backup. It's at 80% and it's done. And if we open this up, we can see that our entire server's in here. All the files, the jar file, the worlds, and the plugins. We also have another option, which is Backup Info. And we can see the information about the backup, such as our schedule, how many backups we can have before it deletes the oldest one, the compression level, if it's currently backing up, and what backups are in the backup folder. So the next thing we want to do is configure some things. So once you open up your EasyBackup config, you'll see a backup schedule, and this is quite easy to use, although it might look complex. Just simply press enter and type a dash and press space. And let's say we want to back up at 2 o'clock p.m. every day. We'll type 2 o'clock p.m. That does it. You can also type 1400 and make sure you put your single quotes around it, and that will also be 2 o'clock p.m. Let's say you want to back up every Sunday at 8 p.m. You can type sun or Sunday and then type 8 o'clock p.m. Or let's do 8:30. That'll also work. So 8:30 p.m. every Sunday. But let's say we want to do it Sunday and Monday. We can do Sunday and Monday just like this. Or we can type Monday all the way out. But we'll just do Mon. Which this will do Sunday, Monday at 8:30 p.m. So since these two times are exactly the same, I'll go ahead and remove the 2 o'clock p.m. And I'll remove the original ones here, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 4 o'clock a.m. Next up, we have the backups, max backups, which is by default 4. I'm going to change that to 2. All that does is it changes the amount of backups in here before it deletes the oldest one. Pretty straightforward. Next up is slow down when the server lags. If your server tends to be very laggy, you can have EasyBackup automatically slow down, and it will tell the admins when it does. If your server's always laggy, you might want to either disable this or at least disable the messages. Next up, you have debug, which by default is false. If you set this to true, all it will do is in the console say everything that happens, like every single file that's backed up, anything that goes on. And it's just for figuring out if anything's wrong. Next up is the name, which by default is backup underscore then the time. And if we go into our backups folder, we can see backup underscore and then the time. And next we have the extension, which by default is rar. We can change it to zip or we can change it to tar.gz. Next we have the exempt folders. These are files or folders which will not be backed up at all. And I'm just going to put my.jar in here, which is my jar file for this server, which is right here, my.jar. We also have our save folder, which is where the backups are saved. If you want to save your backups into an absolute path instead of a relative path, first put a colon, then type the drive, which say F drive, then a colon, then a slash. Then you can type your path here. But be sure to put the colon at the beginning or else it will think it's a relative path. Next we have allow in-game commands, and by default this is set to false, so people who have op or hack to get op can't mess up your backups. Next we have notify admins. This is set to true. This will tell your admins in-game the backup percentages. And finally we have FTP. And only some servers will use this, but if you have an external FTP server, you can enable this to true, set up your FTP login, and then whenever a backup's created, it will send the backup to that FTP server. Also, the save location is where on your FTP server it's going to save. So if I wanted it to save in test folder 1 and then test folder 2, it will look just like this on your FTP server. For example, test folder 1, it will generate this, and then it will generate this, and your backups will be in here, and that will all be on your FTP server. So that's the save location. And finally, we have delete after success. And if you set this to true, all it will do is delete your local backup file after it successfully uploads it to your FTP server, which will save space on your server's hard drive. So that's all that's in the config, so I'll go ahead and save that and exit out of that. The next config file we have is called language, and if you don't speak English or your staff don't speak English, you can change this to whatever you want, and it has all the language settings for EasyBackup in here. And finally, now that we just made some configuration changes, we'll type backup reload, and this will reload our backup files. And as you can see, the new schedules are applied: 1400, which is 2 o'clock p.m., and Sunday, Monday at 8:30 p.m. So now that our backups are configured, we can do backup create again, and we'll let it do its thing. If we go in here, as we can see, it's creating another one, and it's completed. Now, we have it set to 2 max backups, so if I create one more, it's going to delete the oldest one. So I'll do backup create. As you can see, it has 3 initially, but as soon as it finishes, the oldest one gets deleted. Now, finally, EasyBackup has actually there's 2 things I missed. There's another command you can type: backup create and then the name. So let's say you want to create a backup with a specific name. You can type backup create and then test 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will create a backup with that specific name. That way you don't have to go and look through the dates and times. So there's your backups. Finally, a very nice feature: if something got messed up, instead of having to completely open this up and unzip it and all that stuff, you can easily type backup restore and then the backup name. So if we want to restore test 1, 2, 3, 4, we can restore it. However, one very big warning is when you restore, it will not restore any files that are not already in here. In other words, it will delete files. It will delete everything on your server and replace it with what's in here. So if you have exempt files, they will be deleted. For example, this one's exempt and it's not in here, so this will be deleted. So let me copy and paste that out here so I don't lose it. And if I restore my server, it goes through a little process here. So it's going to give you the warning, and it's going to tell you the backups that can be restored, and I typed it wrong. So backup restore and test 1234.rar. Now it's going to start restoring, and my bad. Hang on. No, I did that right. So it's creating its restore backup, a backup point. So if it does screw up, here is the backup at which it's a restore point in case it screws up on restoring it. Now what it's going to do is wait 30 seconds, and once those 30 seconds are complete, the whole server is going to shut down. It's going to run this jar file as if it were its own program. Then it's going to restore this file right here. So here it goes. Stop the server, and you will know it's complete. There's going to be a file in here called, let's see, it's not showing up. There will be a, here it is, EasyBackup process log. It finished so fast I couldn't open it. That file will be deleted when it's done, and it will create a file called restore log. So once the restore log.txt is created here, you know the backup restore is finished. And this will tell you everything that has been restored, as you can see here, and it will tell you if there's any errors and all this stuff. And finally, as I said before, this was exempt, so as you can see, it's not in here anymore. So you gotta be careful about those exempt files when you're restoring. So restore is very useful if something got really messed up on your server and you gotta put everything back in, and it's very fast, very easy to use. So there's the restore function. One other thing that I forgot to mention is the compression. We changed the compression level to compression level 10. So to show this, if I go into our backups folder and we look at our file here, it's 154,000 kilobytes. Now let's count how many our actual server is. So let me pull the backups out so we don't count it twice. And I'm going to count everything except for the my.jar because that's not backed up. If I go into properties, it's 218 megabytes. And just so you know, 145,000 kilobytes is about 145 megabytes. So as you can see, we saved over 50 megabytes of storage by compression. So I'll go ahead and put that back in here, and that's EasyBackup for you. Nice, easy to use, and saves your server in case of anything. So to get EasyBackup, all you have to do is pull up Google, type in Spigot EasyBackup, and it should be the first link. If not, you can search it on Spigot, and you'll come up with this plugin, and you can read all about it here. The video will be on this page, and you can click on, if you don't own it, you'll click buy, and then download, and you'll have it forever. And EasyBackup works with 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 1.10, 1.11, 1.12, and any future version. So go ahead and get the plugin, and thank you.